So I am going to show you how to use a manual pasta machine. Hi guys, I'm Katie of Buona Pasta Club. Welcome to my pasta making series. So I am going to show you how to use a manual pasta machine. This is a super old school pasta machine done completely manually. This is what I grew up making pasta with. You can get this for between $30 and over $100 depending on the material that's made. So the cheaper the pasta machine, the lighter it's gonna be. This is one of the lower priced options. This is what I have for my in-person pasta classes. They work completely fine, but if you really wanna invest in a nice pasta machine that you're gonna have forever, then you can definitely find some more heavy duty, nicer quality machines. So first we have just the base. So this is just the flattener. And then usually you have the attachment, which is the spaghetti and fettuccine. So this basically just is added on with this little piece right here. And this is the full setup. You've got your hand crank, so you are gonna put it in to the base when you want to flatten your pasta, and then you're gonna put it in to each one of the cutters when you wanna make whichever pasta you're making. So fettuccine goes here and spaghetti goes here. So one at a time. And then you're gonna have this piece, which is super important. So this is what is going to keep your pasta machine sturdy, so that when you do crank it, it doesn't move all over the place. So we're just going to attach it to my table so that it just stays in place. The hand crank goes into the hole and you just crank it like this. So the levels are on here are 1 through 9. So 1 is the widest, 9 is the thinnest. So always start on 1 and move up at least once through each level. So you don't want to shock your pasta by starting at level 3 or 6 or whatever. You need to go a little at a time, because if you put your pasta in too quickly in a thinner setting, then it could break your pasta and crush it or add air bubbles in it, which will then affect the final product. So little at a time, we're going slowly. So we're gonna take our pasta dough and just by hand flatten it. This has been resting for probably over an hour, so it's nice and soft, pliable, stretchy, so you can see, so you can kind of like form it into the shape you want to. So I'm gonna do like more on the rectangle, oval side. So this is our pasta dough. So again, our crank is in our flattener, and we're just going to go through number 1, and I'm gonna just let my dough rest right here while it falls out. So I'm going to add flour through each level because we do not want it to stick to our flattener, and we also don't want to stick to our cutters when we go to cut it. All right, so we're gonna move to level 2. And we're just going to, again, let it lay so that we can catch it. It's our piece. And it really doesn't need flour at this point, but if it was summertime and it was super humid, then I would be really flouring each level that I go through. So it's really just dependent on your environment. Okay, level 3. So you can see my dough is super floured even going through that. So I'm not gonna add any additional flour. If your dough sheet was super yellow or didn't have all that flour, then I would add it. All right, level 4. And so right here, it's kind of going to the side, so I'm just gonna help it out and push it towards the center. Okay. Again, still nice and floured. So I'm gonna just keep moving up the levels. So now I'm on 5, we're gonna go through 6. You can tell it's getting nice and long. This is through level 5. And we're gonna go through level 6 and then I'm gonna cut it in half. You could cut it at any point in time if it gets too long for you, because there's more of an opportunity for it to overlap and then stick together and go through your roller with double pasta sheet. All right, so we're gonna move to level 6, our last one. And again, there's plenty of flour on here, so I'm not gonna add more flour, but if it's sticky at all, you're gonna add flour to both sides. All right, so here is our finished pasta sheet. Nice and flat, nice and thin. So at this point it's long, so I'm gonna cut it in half. You can also cut it into thirds or quarters, but I'm gonna cut it in half so that one half can be cut as fettuccine and one half can be cut as spaghetti. So at this point, I'm gonna move the hand crank to my cutter. So first we're gonna do fettuccine, and then we'll do spaghetti. So before I cut them, we are going to flour our sheets. And this is especially important when cutting spaghetti because it's so thin, you don't want it to stick together. But when you cut any of them, even if you're hand cutting, you wanna make sure your sheets are nice and floured so that once you're done cutting them, they don't stick to each other. Okay, so now for the fettuccine. And fettuccine means little ribbons. So we're just gonna cut these little ribbons. We're just gonna catch it. Okay, and once cut, we're just gonna gently lay our pasta on a cutting board, flat sheet, or like sheet pan. Okay, so now we're gonna cut spaghetti. We are going to move our crank to the spaghetti cutter. And same thing. Just gonna let it fall. And you can see the spaghetti, like I said, is super thin. So it's more like angel hair than spaghetti. So just go like that. Okay, so this is ready to cook. immediately in salted boiling water for 2 to 5 or more minutes. And it's just dependent on how thin or thick you rolled your sheet. Spaghetti is gonna cook faster than the fettuccine. So it's gonna be like 1 to 2 minutes for the spaghetti, 3 to 4 minutes for the fettuccine at this thickness. You can store it by hanging to dry, and that is good for months. You can just stick it in a airtight container in a dry, cool place, and it will be good for months. You can also freeze it, which is what I usually do, just a bit easier. So stick it directly in your freezer like this, let it harden for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then transfer it to a freezer bag for up to a few weeks. I like to eat it within a week so that it's the freshest possible, but it will be good for weeks, even months. So here's what to do if your pasta is sticky at all. So you can tell this is like a little bit sticky. Even if it's way sticky, this is gonna work. So we're going to just add some flour, and we're gonna just gently toss it in our flour. And this is so that each strand gets coated with flour. And they'll be nice and not stick together. All right, so even if you did that, you can just stick this right into the freezer like this, and then you add it to your boiling salted water from frozen. Don't thaw, it will just stick if you do that, and it will cook up in about 1 or 2 more minutes than if it was fresh. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you loved this, and don't forget to follow Buona Pasta Club on any platform that you're on. Cheers.